Hello everyone, this is Arwen from Evenstar. Welcome to Facebook Live with Evenstar Wellbeing for this week. And I really am quite excited to bring you this topic, which I've called the variability of the heart. And what we're actually talking about is something that hopefully a number of people will have heard about, which is called heart rate variability. And it's something that I guess in the first few months of this year just kept being brought to my attention through podcasts and colleagues talking about it, and even people that I went to see myself, a chiropractor who used it. And so I just kind of got the message, thank you universe, you keep prompting me on this, and looked into it a bit more myself and have actually bought a heart rate variability monitor for my practice, and am really excited to introduce this concept to you because our heart rate variability is something that we can manage and can control, and it in turn controls our emotions through the brain, and I'm going to talk you through that. So it's actually something that's really important to have an understanding of, because it's a tool that you can use, that you have literally with you anywhere, anytime, to help you to manage stressful situations better. So most people, I'm sure, are pretty much aware of what heart rate is. It's something that humans have used as an overall indication of well-being for literally hundreds of years. And what a heart rate measurement shows is the average number of times that your heart beats or pumps per minute. And this is usually, for most people, it's between a range of 60 and 100 beats per minute. And unless you are an elite athlete, it shouldn't go much below 60 beats per minute. But within that range of 60 to 100, the lower it is, the more healthy you are. Basically, the more efficient your heart is working to pump blood and therefore oxygen and nutrients all around your body. Now, heart rate variability, on the other hand, is a measure of the time between your heartbeats. And as the word variability indicates, this will change each time. So between heartbeat 1 and heartbeat 2, there'll be a certain amount of time. Between heartbeat 2 and heartbeat 3, there may be a completely different amount of time. And this is a reflection of how well our parasympathetic nervous system, which is the part of the autonomic nervous system that controls our relaxation, our rest and digest, as it's called, as opposed to our fight or flight. So our rest or digest nervous system is called the parasympathetic nervous system, and this is the part of our nervous system that's responsible for relaxation, for a feeling of content, a feeling of calm. And so the greater the variability, so the greater your heart rate variability, or HRV as we're going to call it now, is, the higher that number is, the more easily your parasympathetic nervous system is activated. And so therefore, the better adapted you are to managing stress. So what then happens is the heart rate variabilities, the HRV, basically acts like a messaging system. It's like a Morse code sending a message to your brain, and it sends this to the really ancient part of the brain, the amygdala, which is part of the ancient brain, and tells the brain then reads that Morse code and scans it and looks for similar messages. So the brain most of the time is a pattern matching piece of technology, and the brain, the amygdala, is looking for a similar message. So when you're in a situation where you're constantly stressed, regardless of what the stress is, that part of the brain is going to match that stress signal to and label it, the emotion of whatever the most familiar stressed emotion was. So for example, if you're feeling stressed and the brain matches that to a pattern of anger, then you're going to immediately feel angry and perhaps lash out, and the message does not get past that ancient part of the brain to the higher brains, to the cortexes on the outside, the more modern parts of the brain. So the amygdala effectively hijacks the message. So this is how. So that message, that Morse code message from the heart, is actually controlling what your emotions are via the brain. Now, let's just go back a step, because there are a few really amazing facts about the heart that I would really love you to understand, and they're not commonly known at all. So the heart is actually formed before the brain. So in a developing fetus in utero, the heart forms and starts beating before the brain is developed. The heart has its own nervous system, so it consists of about 40,000 neurons, which, just like any other nerves and just like the nerve cells in the brain itself, can sense, they can feel, they can learn, and they can remember. So in fact, some scientists talk about it as the heart brain. The heart actually sends more messages to the brain in your head than the other way around. So your brain in your head receives more messages than it sends to the heart, which is amazing. The heart also creates a magnetic field that can be measured several feet away from the body, and this is 100 times stronger than the magnetic field of the brain. So I just think it is so important to have an understanding of the heart, because it really is the heart of you. And that's why we have all these colloquial terms about, heartfelt, and, that you really do feel when you're having a really strong emotion, whether that's positive or negative, that you do feel it in that heart space, because your heart is the seat of emotion, really. Okay, so what does this mean? This means that if you can do some work on your heart rate variability, then you can impact your emotions. You can impact that Morse code messaging system. So the brain, as I said before, it's a pattern matching system. It likes the familiar. It likes to be able to match experiences. And this is why it is so hard to change our behavior and to change the way we think and feel about things, because the brain doesn't really want us to do that. It's a bit lazy. It would rather keep matching the patterns. And most of our thoughts and behaviors are very well formed very early in life. But what you can do is to work on your heart rate variability. So increasing that variability, bringing a nice smooth pattern to the measurement of the variability, rather than having it at a really jagged pace. So how we can do this is using breath and gratitude. So two things that you have accessible to you all the time. So your breath is really an amazing tool. The easiest thing that you can do to help yourself to relax and to get through stressful situations is to really take that breath right down into your belly, so away from the chest area, and really feeling it deep into your belly. So simply by slowing and deepening your breath, you're going to increase your heart rate variability. So that is something that you can try right now. I will put a link to my blog on this, because I'm going to give some other instructions in that for kind of the next steps that you can do once you've spent a minute or two actually really slowing and deepening your breath, what you can do next. So with regards to gratitude, we really want to bring into our heart that sense of gratitude, because if we can feel, we can use our amazing imaginations to bring something into our heart. So you think of something that you are grateful for, you think of something that you have a sense of unconditional love for, and you get that beautiful, warm, bubbly feeling in your heart space, and that is going to again increase your heart rate variability. So it's absolutely amazing when you use the monitor and you do this to see the change that you can bring about simply by feeling gratitude within the heart space. So I will put that link to the blog, which has the kind of the next steps in that process of the exercise that you can do to increase your heart rate variability. So you can do this anytime that you're feeling a little bit anxious, a little bit stressed, a little bit ungrounded, to help to bring your brain back under control. So basically, we're saying the heart is controlling the brain and the emotions and trying to break those patterns, forcing the brain to not send you down the path of that instant negative emotion that you might be used to feeling. So practicing it a few times a day is going to be really beneficial to your overall stress management. If you're interested in having a session with me, and we'll certainly do a check of your heart rate variability, it's a really great objective piece of information that my clients can use to understand how well they do manage stress, regardless of what they might think about that. So feel free to book in a session. I'll put a link to that as well. And if you have any other questions, do feel free to please contact me. And I would highly, highly recommend that if this is something that has set your heart racing, this topic, then have a look at the Heart Math Institute website. There is an absolutely phenomenal amount of information on there, scientific research. The organisation's been around for more than 30 years, and they have a lot of online courses and things like that that you can do as well. So I hope that was all useful, and I hope you have a beautiful, relaxing weekend, managing your stress magnificently. All right, take care. Bye now.